Ladies and gentlemen, our speaker hardly needs an introduction. However, for the few of you who have not heard of him, and I'm sure that's very, very few of you, let me say these few things about him. Our speaker is President and Chief Executive Officer of Benguet Corporation, and he is also President of the Chamber of Mines of the Philippines. The Chamber of Mines of the Philippines is an association advancing the interest of mining, quarrying, and mineral processing companies for the efficient exploration, development, and utilization of minerals in consonance with sound economic, environmental, and social policies. The association consists of members coming from exploration, mining, mineral processing, and services industries, including professional associations. The members are united by a shared commitment to the principles of economic growth, sustainable development, and as government's partners in development. Our speaker has been and continues to be an articulate voice and advocate of the Philippine mining industry. At the Philippine Mining Conference and Exhibition that was held at Sofitel from the 13th to the 15th of September this year, our speaker ensured that the major issues that confront the mining industry in our country were aired and discussed with the key stakeholders, including among them DNR Secretary Ramon Paje, Executive Secretary Paquito Ochoa, Presidential Advisor on Environment Protection Nerios Acosta, World Wildlife Fund Philippines President Jose Maria Lorenzo Tan, and Philippine Business for Social Progress Executive Director Rafael Lopa. And indeed, and I can report, these discussions were vigorous, frank, but in the style of our speaker, always diplomatic, but very constructive. Outcomes of the Philippine Mining Conference include positive commitments from Secretary Paje relating to the implementation of the moratorium on mining applications. Second, a balanced scorecard for the mining industry that was recommended by Mr. Lopa of Philippine Business for Social Progress, and the revival of the Minerals Council, and so on. Events of significant consequence to the mining industry have occurred recently, such as the following. An NPA attack on a nickel project in Surigao, reportedly destroying 3 billion pesos worth of equipment and infrastructure. Second, President Aquino's call today on environmental experts in the government to craft an environmental policy. I am sure that many of these matters are at the top of your minds this afternoon. Indeed, what our guest speaker will say to us today will be very, very timely. Ladies and gentlemen, to bring us up to date on very, very important developments in the mining industry, please join me warmly welcome to the podium the President of Benguet Corporation and President of the Chamber of Mines of the Philippines, my colleague and good friend, Mr. Benjamin Philip Romualdez.
Thank you very much, Leo. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you had a good lunch. I always enjoy Bistek Tagalog, and I always enjoy a good salmon sinigang. So thank you very much to the sponsors for providing such a delicious lunch. And also, before I get into the discussion, I wanted to say a big thank you to Kevin. Where are you? For inviting the Chamber of Mines today. Thank you very much, Kevin. Kevin deserves a big round of applause for gathering us in these functions this past 4 times. In fact, I apologize, I wasn't able to come in the previous occasions, but I'm glad we're here today. Ladies and gentlemen, Leo actually gave such a good overview of what I was about to say. I almost feel like I don't need to say too much. Fill in the details. Okay, actually, I'm not sure how articulate I am, because since we've joined we've been pushing up the Chamber of Mines, we've hired a Vice President for Communications, and I'd like to acknowledge his presence to introduce you, Mr. Rocky Di Maculangan. Rocky's I don't think he agrees with Leo about my being articulate, because he prepared a very comprehensive presentation, all with speaking notes. So I think he wants me to stick to message. But we'll have an open forum afterwards. The other person I'd like to introduce, who's new to the Chamber of Mines, and who will be your brother in arms and champion in this battle that we are in, is Attorney Ronnie Residero. Attorney Ronnie used to work with Lepanto. He's a lawyer, and he's full-time with the Chamber of Mines. He's in charge of policy, legal affairs, and public policy issues. So these are two recent additions to the team at the Chamber of Mines, and of course we wouldn't be able to do what we do without the guiding hand of our chairman, Mr. Artemio Dicini. Mr. Art, Chairman Art. Okay. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, a lot's happened since our Mining Philippines that took place about 2 months ago. In fact, we've had a October 6 Chamber of Mines meeting, which occurred just a few days after the Surigao attack. And it was in that meeting that we were able to quickly call and have them join us, and they are the Philippine National Police Chief, the head of the Philippine National Police, the Department of Interior and Local Government Secretary, Jesse Robredo, and also we also had Secretary Ramon Paje join us at that meeting to precisely address the issues that we were confronting that very week. And I'll be happy to tell you a little bit more about that. But we at the Chamber of Mines have been very active, as you know, and in fact, if you will have seen some of the newspapers and some of the media space, issues that are not even remotely attributable to the industry are being attributed to us. And so it compelled us the other day to come out with ads in newspapers that essentially condemned the killing of our beloved Italian priest father, and at the same time calling upon the government to quickly come to arrest those who perpetrated the crime. It's unfortunate that many people who are the detractors of our industry have taken advantage of this sad situation and are trying to attribute this to the mining industry. And I understand that there is another Catholic Educators Association that just today issued another statement and is trying to link, I think even the Tampakan project to that issue. So again, a preposterous allegation for which the Chamber of Mines will be answering swiftly and promptly, as vigorously as necessary. So the final common statement to that issue is that we will not take any blank, blank, blank from anybody, and we will answer and face the issues, whether they're wearing a cloth or holding a gun. So that is the commitment of the Chamber of Mines to you and the mining industry. I just wanted that to be your message to you and to our reporter friends back there. Now, just wanted to make sure there's a quick disclaimer. I thank very much First Metro for talking about Benguet Corporation and Benguet stock, but I assure you, and I made sure that the reporters heard this, I did not speak to the First Metro prior to this discussion. I had no idea that they were going to make such a presentation, but I thank them nonetheless. Also, and if asked a few questions, just to address the question before it's asked, it's always a good time to buy Benguet Corp stock. Thank you very much. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, my discussion today really will come in two parts. The first part, if you allow me, will be the outcome of the mining conference. Well, we would like to think the conference was quite a success. We had 4 cabinet secretaries, a congressman, heads of various organizations, over a dozen ambassadors, and more than a dozen and dozens of industry leaders joining us at the conference. And I would like to say that there was a great deal of optimism among them, and many recommendations that were put forward are being taken into consideration. In fact, we are continuing to work on that growth trajectory for our sector. Now, importantly, I think the President was there through a representation by his Executive Secretary. So in that keynote address of the President delivered by Secretary Ochoa, he had made many statements. I think his statements certainly lifted the enthusiasm of the participants, and we in the Chamber, despite the many challenges, are optimistic on our continued growth trajectory. The Chamber of Mines applauds the President in support of large-scale mining. I mean, if you recall, and if you look at the newspapers today, the President did make a statement yesterday wherein he does support large-scale mining, and he made that statement during the Leyte Gulf landing anniversary yesterday. Now, given the recent historic highs of metals mining around the world, our mineral-rich nation has once again emerged as a premium location for minerals investment. A perfect time, I would like to think, for the government to help us in this thrust and also to help eradicate poverty. As you know, we have a growing population of nearly 94 million Filipinos, and it is only proper for our country's leaders to tap our mineral resources, especially where there now exists. Mining technology that allows the extraction of minerals in a way that mitigates the negative impact of the environment, while at the same time, as you know, creating socioeconomic benefits, from which communities that we all participate in are, in fact, benefited. Large-scale responsible mining has the capability to do this, but I'm sure you all know this because we are all part of this. However, I'd like to stress that the initiative of the President to form a panel to craft a comprehensive mining policy for the Philippines is very much welcome and is very much needed, especially since the Minerals Development Council has been, in effect, disbanded. Uncertainty in the country's minerals policy is a key factor that has inhibited the entry of many investors, not just foreign, but even local. We also welcome the pronouncement that all mining stakeholders will be consulted in this policy. I would like to state that, in fact, we have already been doing that. The Chamber of Mines had submitted a position to the Executive Secretary for the President's consideration only last week, wherein we outlined many of the key issues as what we discussed during the mining conference. Now, together with the Philippine Business for Social Progress, led by its director, Mr. Rafael Lopa, who, by the way, is the first cousin of the President, we will, as an industry, design a standard report on how we are meeting social, environmental, and economic needs of the communities where we operate. We intend to come up with a CSR, a Corporate Social Responsibility Scorecard, along the lines of our CSR guidebook, which we launched last year, serving as our tool in implementing our social development management programs as mandated by the Philippine mining law, but more importantly, for where we can actually measure our initiative